Hi, so in my coaching program, we run through a weekly Zoom call where we go over a topic about a specific thing, and it's usually something some of my clients are struggling with just in general. And it's an opportunity where we get together and help people. And of course, this week we were doing dealing with injuries. This is also an opportunity for them to speak to me, speak to other people, and it's a nice get together. But I'm going to be giving out some free info to you guys, and this is the exact slideshow I used and went over with these guys. So I'm going to give it to you. Okay. So dealing with injuries, okay, where you go wrong. First thing you do is give up, okay? And it sounds obvious and it's really easy to do, but giving up is probably the first step people go. As soon as they realize they're injured, it's kind of like they're waiting for that excuse to stop. The next thing you do is you change everything. And that means when it comes to your training, your nutrition, anything else about or outside of that, you change absolutely everything, and it's not always the right answer. Now, speaking from a coach's point of view, a lot of people don't ask for help as well. They want to be strong and they don't want to be that guy who has to ask and say, I'm injured, can you change something? But it's always the best option. And ignoring the pain until it gets worse is also the worst thing you can do. Even if it's something small, it can develop and get worse. It might not be bad in the moment. It could be like a 3 out of 10 pain, but that 3 out of 10 pain can be long lasting, or it can develop into a 10 out of 10 pain. And the next one is jumping between treatments and hoping for a really quick fix. This is easy to do, and a lot of this comes with experience. So if you've dealt with more injuries, you understand that jumping between thousands of treatments and hoping there is that like magical fix is going to work, and it normally isn't. There's usually a couple of things that do work, and I'm going to go over them with you. And the next thing is going to be obvious for you guys that work super hard is returning too quickly, and this is to training and everything in general. Now here's how to handle it. Now the way I've displayed the document is towards my client, so if it sounds like I'm speaking to someone else, it's because I am. Okay, so how to handle it. First, don't panic. Okay, understand that most of these injuries we receive are manageable. And if you reach out early doors and you don't panic, normally we can do something about it. And normally your coach or another coach can help you with this. And when I say message me, for you guys, it could be message anyone. Get some help immediately as soon as you can. Okay, I say I deal with the planning. This is from coach to client point of view, but they can deal with that. If you're an athlete and you're in a gym, you have a coach, they should be dealing with that. You message them, they deal with the rest. Okay, usually if in my position, I'm a coach, I know my place, and if it's something that is out of reach, it is where it is handed over to someone who specializes in that. I know a great physio and I know some great physios, and I would just send them across to them because I know they're great and they specialize in doing these things. I specialize in getting people strong, fit, better at their skills. They help people who have had injuries or are dealing with an injury. Now, one of the things I always say is in your session, if the injury is above a 6 or 7 out of 10, pain, move on. Okay, stop the movement. If you're doing bench press, your shoulders are 6 or 7 out of 10 pain, move on. Hoping it will stop never works. It never does. We always have that positive thought of like it might actually work if I just keep benching or I keep squatting. Never does. Okay. Now a little bonus point is if the pain is happening outside of your training, this is normally a good sign to see someone. So say you have got a shoulder injury or pinch, anything along them lines. If this is affecting you outside your training, so when you're sleeping, for example, you could be on your side, it's flaring up. This is normally a really good sign to go and see someone. Now, the magic fix. There isn't anything that can eliminate the chance of you getting injured. We can program smarter, we can coach better, but there's nothing that can completely eliminate you getting injured. For people that are pushing for serious goals, especially like as CrossFitters, it's part of the sport and it's inevitable. Any video you see that says, it will completely eliminate pain or completely eliminate any chance of injury. It won't. There's stuff we can do to reduce, of course, and probably the best way to do that is getting stronger and moving better. Okay. What the goal is for athletes who train hard, eventually getting small injuries, the goal really is to manage them properly, keep training, and come back stronger, which is going on to the next slide, which I think is super, super important. It's the opportunity. Most of you guys will see injuries as a setback, but there's some really good athletes out there who see them as a chance to improve on their weaknesses. Now, this is very hard within the first week of getting an injury, but past that, you got to see it as a chance to improve on a weakness. I'll give you an example for myself. I injured my back about 2 years ago. Again, nothing excessive. I didn't slip a disc, nothing like that, but it was an injury that put me out. Okay. Now, this was from squatting. It wasn't from hinging. It was from squatting. And this was an opportunity for me to really fix how I move on a squat. Because in CrossFit, you do so much squatting and squatting's everywhere. Perfecting your squat is super important. And if you perfect your squat, normally those sort of mechanics transfer over to everything else. So this was my opportunity to do that. And I did. I came back, PB'd my back squat. Brilliant. That's my example, and it's an opportunity. So more examples are, if you can't run, build your engine on the bike or the rower. If your shoulder's irritated, improve your pulling strength and your scapular control. This is just what I mean, scapular, shoulder blades, all right? If squatting hurts, develop some really good single leg strength and core stability. There's so many examples I can run through here. Now, I did go over my own example. I injured my lower back. I go to the physio. I learned this is occurring from ankle mobility. Essentially, one ankle was more flexible than the other. So say my left ankle would come to here, my right ankle would come to here. What this meant is when I was squatting, I was leaning to one side, which put pressure on my back. So one ankle was a little bit more mobile than the other. What I took from this, after a week of feeling sorry for myself, fix your ankle mobility, which also gave me an opportunity to fix my butt wink. All this is when you squat, your lower back starts caving in right in that bottom position. Okay, so it goes into a massive amount of flexion. Chance to PB my squat. No emotions, just a structured plan with intent. And that is the goal of fixing an injury. It's trying to take emotions out of it, have a structured plan, and then you can train with some intent. The hardest thing about an injury is working out what it is, in my opinion. It's really hard to know what should I be doing, etc. But once you've worked it out, whether you've gone down the private line or the NHS line, there's really good ways you can deal with an injury. And if your coach isn't coming up with a plan, then maybe it's an opportunity to go find someone who can do that.